In this video, we're going to take a closer look at designer surfaces and the relationship to the underlying code that they generate. There are many different types of files that you can create in Visual Studio.net. You can create web forms, WinForms, you can create XSDs and classes, you can create cascading style sheet files, you can create web services. And in all these cases, and even more, there are multiple representations of a given file. You have a visual representation where you can drag and drop things onto that design surface, is another word for it. You can drag, for example, in this case we have a web form .aspx. So this is an ASP.NET web form, and what I can do is drag and drop items onto this design surface. And when I do that, what's going on behind the scenes is that code is being generated. I can flip to another view of this exact same file, in other words, the HTML view, and I can see all the code that was generated for us automatically, and specifically when I dragged and dropped that label control, all of the, first of all, the label the tag was generated, an ID was set, and other information like the style, the size, the position, and the actual text that will appear within the label. This was all initiated by the fact that we dragged and dropped something onto the design surface, and code was generated for us. Now what we can also do is go back to the design surface, select our label, select the Properties window near the bottom, and set other values. So in a very visual way, I can change the ID, for example, and I can change the text that is within there. So we'll change this to Bob, for example. And now when I look at the HTML that was generated, it made changes for me. It changed the ID automatically, and if we scroll down to the end of this line, we'll notice that it changed the text inside. So every property that we want to modify here, we get to access the actual properties and where they're set in code here in the code view. Now I want to make a quick distinction. There is a difference between, and this is pertinent to ASP.NET applications, both web forms and web services. There's a difference between taking a look at the code that was generated by a designer and code behind, which is a distinct new feature of ASP.NET web forms and web services. To illustrate what code behind is, we'll drag a button and drop it onto our design surface. And what we'll do is we will double-click the button, and what will appear is a second file that will handle the button 1 click event. This file will be compiled by the .NET runtime into a DLL, which is called a .NET assembly, and it will execute faster than if we were to just have script, and that we could equate to like classic ASP, for example, that were to run as a result of us clicking a button and having the form submitted. So there's a different paradigm. We'll explain more about code behind at length in the 3000 series for ASP.NET web forms. But just so you understand, there's a distinction between what gets generated by the design surface and the difference between that and understanding code behind, which is a whole separate file that gets generated. Hope this distinction in this video was helpful to you. These are some important new concepts that might be new to you if you've been a Microsoft developer for a while or a newbie. So we appreciate your patronage, and thank you very much for watching this video.